Hello, my name is Helen, also known as Helen with the Gold Teeth. Today I am going to do a demonstration of how to print beautiful dental arches similar to this. You might have noticed that sometimes when people post grills, instead of putting the ceramic models, which are like the dental stone made ones, they have these super aesthetic looking ones. So I'm about to give away a bunch of the information that I know to teach you guys how to make these. So let's get into it. All right, so the program that I use is called Medit Link. It is a free dental CAD software application. I like to refer to it both as a dental CAD app, but also as a case management app. When you sign up for it, there are a few different options. I picked the dental lab option, but essentially they have a different offering for different types of businesses. It could be like a dental practice, it could be a lab or something else. So I just went with the lab version. And Medit Link is free. That is the main reason why I'm showing this to you instead of something else. Medit makes dental scanners, but they also make this software, which enables dental practitioners to do a number of things without having to invest in a CAD program. I am not a dental practitioner, so I don't use the majority of the tools that it offers, but this one is really cool and it's fairly intuitive. I have not mastered it, but I'm functional enough to do what I need to do. So we'll just get right into it. Okay, so within Medit, there are a number of different applications. The one that we'll use is called Model Builder. When you get the program, you'll have to create an account, and there is there's a cloud-based version of it, but download the application to your computer. It's far easier to use from the desktop application, and in addition to that, I think it's easier to get to the internal training modules, which are different than what is on YouTube. Inside of the application, there's these really short snips and they're very easy to follow, much more so than what you'll find on YouTube. So this is the program that we're going to use, or excuse me, I don't think the word is program. This is the, I'll just say tool. This is the tool that we're going to use, Model Builder. And you'll notice, as I mentioned before, there are others. I've got some up here, but we'll get the Model Builder demo going. Okay, so once you get it open, it's always trying to update, but I do not know that much about the program, so I don't want to go to another version yet. So essentially what I just did there was, let's go back. Once I got it opened, once I got it open, I had to designate the model that I'm using as either maxilla or mandible. Mandible is the bottom teeth, so I'm gonna add it to there. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna use. Instead of a dental scan, it's a scanned model. All right, so the first tool that we use here, it is called, it's basically like a paintbrush is what it is. And then as you're painting, let's get this up so you can actually see it. Okay, so as you're painting, you want to sort of designate the area for the base creation is what it says here. You'll see that I'm kind of capturing the parts that I want to be on my mold. This lets you change the brush size, and we'll go ahead and get that started. Okay. So you can move it around. Learning how to navigate 3D space can be kind of tough at first, but you'll get used to it over time. So there I am, just trying to capture the teeth, everything that I want to be on the model. If you want to get really fancy with it, you can clean up some of the noise and make sure that the details, the most critical details, are there. And I'm just using the broader brush because it moves quickly. You might be a little bit confused as you're trying to pan and use the tool. It's not super intuitive. And honestly, I don't even remember what it is I did with my mouse to make that happen. So I'm just still getting everything, doing a once over, just making sure everything's there. You don't always have to print all of the teeth, but I just went ahead and did it because I was giving a demonstration. So then you'll notice that there are some spots a little bit away from where I have the majority of the painting. So you'll notice when you click this, it kind of inverts it. I think what I'm trying to do here is get to the place where you can erase that, but I guess I just couldn't really figure out where it was. All right, so we're just gonna check. Oh, see, I've got a couple of blank spots still. I'm doing my best to just kind of be as careful as I can. I don't know how to use this as well as someone who is a lab technician or someone with formal education, but as anyone with grills knows, you just want to get all of the details in an impression. And you also want to make sure that you have the gum line captured. It's pretty critical. All right, so here we go. We're double checking one more time. All right, we're checking. Oh, how's it looking? What do you guys think? Oh, it looks good from there. Uh-oh, I found some more spots. You would think I got them all, but I didn't. And there we got it. So now, from here, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna edit. Once I'm on this screen, instead of adding, what I'm gonna be doing is taking off some of the parts that I don't want there. Okay, so we're just double checking, trying to get it to where I want it to be. Navigating 3D space can be kind of tough, and you'll get used to it over time. It's really not the easiest, but it becomes more intuitive with time. So this stage is called, oh, I was still on the painting stage. I call it the painting stage, but this is the edit mode. So once we get here, I could trim off a little bit of the noise. And you'll notice I'm using these boxes over to the right-hand side. There's probably a simpler way to pan, but I like using those boxes because it helps me keep control of what I'm doing without kind of getting lost or overwhelmed or not quite knowing how to, execute the commands, because the menu options, they don't make the most sense to me so far. But I'm just using the brush, but this time instead of to select the surface for what I want to cover, I'm selecting the surfaces that I want to erase. So I think that for others, this would maybe go faster, but I'm still learning, so I kind of like goof off a little bit and don't really know what I'm doing. So yeah, for me, it feels a little bit like the cleaner you can get it, the better the model's gonna look. Because if you don't capture it right, or if you don't get all the details right, it will end up sort of a weird shape. And I've got some examples of that. Like this one, for instance, you'll notice that it goes in and out. And it's not the person's anatomy why it looks that way. It's truly just because I wasn't as careful. Okay, so after you're done with the cleanup, you have to do this thing where you're sort of like aligning these points, and it says align the data with the occlusal plane to determine the direction of the base creation. So I'm just trying to tell it that the base creation is going that way. And I don't get this super precise. The example that you see in the upper corner over here, it's really like very well aligned. Mine, I would say, is less so, honestly. All right, so we've said what direction it's gonna face. We have cleaned up some of the stuff that was just a little bit noisy, and we've also selected the area where the teeth are. So now I am making the base. The base is this section, you see? A lot of folks like to make that a lot smaller because then you'll use less material. So if you're 3D printing, you use less material if you have a smaller base. But I like the high bases because they're really pretty, in my opinion. If you had to pick between, a couple of different looks, what do you prefer? The high base, the low base? High base, low base. I say high base. All right, so you're just sliding this up and down. And then I was kind of just experimenting here to see what the minimum and maximums it would permit me to do are. And here it's asking you sort of like how you want the edges. This one is saying, do you want to chamfer it? Which is something that will make it easier to take off of the surface where it 3D prints. So yeah, I went with 21 millimeters because it just kind of looked okay. I don't have any sort of metric to go by. It's just what I thought. So the next thing is die creation mode, and I'm not doing die creation. That means, so like die creation is for when you are making a diagnostic model. I'm not doing that. So now that my base is made, I am adding a label to it because I keep a lot of arches around, and I really need to know whose is whose. So this is a really cool feature. I typically like to engrave mine instead of emboss mine. It's just a matter of taste. Both are options, but I like the engrave a little bit better. And here you can see it's embossed, and I'm just kind of putzing around trying to figure out how to engrave it. Oh no, actually, I do have it engraved. Okay, bam, no. Okay, now it's engraved. I had it on engrave, then I turned it to emboss, then I turned it back to engrave. So how deep do I make it? I have no real basis for what I select. I don't even know if I've consistently done the same thing, but I just went with 0.5 millimeter because it seemed like a good number. So now it's made and I'm just exporting the file. So now that the file is exported, the next thing for me to do is, let me just get everyone's names off that screen. I'm not a doctor, so there's no HIPAA. Yeah, so I'm just trying to export the file. I choose an STL file every time, and it's just what I like to work with. So after I've got it exported, I'm gonna open it up and set it up for print. I print on Formlabs printers, and here I've got a few different objects in there. These are just a couple of models to test and make sure that they fit before I go on to cast them. So now I've got the arch in there. All I had to do was export it as an STL. When I clicked that STL, it opened up this file. So this is what we call a slicer. Anything you 3D print, you've got to run through a slicer. It's essentially like the thing that you use just to set up your print, and it sends the instructions to the printer about what it's going to do. So yeah, I'm just like trying to figure out how I want to lay it on the build platform. There was no particular reason to do it any kind of way, but yeah. So there, I'm just kind of just saying this the base of this model is here. I'm designating that area that turned pink as the base of the model. So yeah, that's it. And then once you've got it in there, you can print it. And this is a really fast printer. It's 32 minutes to do everything that you see in this image. I had about, let's see, 7 objects. It only took me, the estimate is only for 32 minutes. So then I doubled it, okay? Because I said to myself, well, if one of these doesn't work, I will have another one and I won't have to run another print job. So I doubled it, and then I'll show you here how it doesn't even increase the runtime that much because of the way this printer functions. So we got everything on there, we got everything on there, we got everything on there, and I'm just being goofy, just checking everything. Everything's there, everything I want is there. We're looking good, we're looking good, okay. Now we're gonna do the time estimate one more time. Time estimate is over here. Yeah, down there. All right. So 34 minutes. See, twice as much stuff to print. 34 minutes. Can't beat that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Once I get everything set up on this build platform, all I have to do is send the print because I already have everything set up. So I'm saving it. It's good practice to save because let's say, for instance, I have to print this again. I don't have to set it up again because I saved the file, right? But that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. It was very simple. Again, you can just go to Medit's website and download Medit Link for free. Create your account. Once you create your account, download the app, log into the app, and install the model builder. And then you can do this too. That's it. There's a even simpler way to set them up if you are a Formlabs printer, but the downside is you have to have the more expensive medical and dental version of the printer to be able to use the software that's just inside of Preform, the slicer that I showed you. A workaround for folks who don't have access to that or who don't want to pay for dental CAD programs is using Medit Link because it works with everything and it has a seamless integration for some 3D printing brands as well, where you can just install just a tiny piece of software and it will kick out the models that we make in Medit straight into your printer's slicer. And you don't have to do that step that I did, which was saving it and then opening it in another program. And you can also save just like some general parameters that tell it how to handle different kinds of print jobs. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of random that this is what I do and that I figured out how to do this because, again, I'm not a dental professional. I'm just a creative person who makes jewelry. But yeah, I hope you had a good time, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching my video, and have a good one.